And hello to all friends, potatoes are with you. This is the 9th part of the Botany Mud Guide for version 1.16.5. But before you start watching, be sure to subscribe to me and click on the bell so as not to miss new videos. Consider the following section called Mystical Objects. Some tabs, such as armor made of steel, we have come from the element, and some others we are already considering, so I will not talk about them again. And the first item that we will consider is called the mass binding rod. Let's take it. I also take hydrangea water and spread estuaries for demonstration in the works. Look, there are cases when you have a lot of flowers, and so you put a new mana distributor. And how to tie them all up quickly. Not just like that without poking very many times, but you can just make a mass binding rod like this. Poke the PCM shift on this distributor, and here you can see that we are establishing connections here. And every flower is now tied to this distributor. They can also be bandaged, let's say to this, and now everyone is tied to it. The next item is called, rather oddly, the astrolabe of the creator of the world. Let's take it and some building blocks. See, this gizmo will make it much easier for us to build. Let's say we take such a block and click Shift plus PCM on it. Now we take it as a sample, so to speak, and we will use them in construction. Look, here we have a 3x3 visualization that stands out right now. If we look at it from a slightly different angle, only the vertical one is made 3x3. We can also change the whole thing, poke the shifter with the PCM through the air. Here are 5x5, 7x7, 9x9, and a maximum of 11x11. And let's leave 3 for 3. And look, we just poke the PCM on the ground, and 9 blocks are installed in this case of polished andesite. By the way, this will only work if you have a mana tablet charged. We can also do it vertically, let's say so, or even increase the radius. In general, it is quite a useful item for mass construction. Then, there are 2 new items at once, a circular workbench, and automatically a circular workbench. They are quite similar, so let's look at them right away. Look, if I take a circular workbench in my hand, then we have such a hologram. There will be a workbench in the middle of it. We poke the PCM here, and do some crafting. Let's say, I want to make semi-blocks. Here we take them, and now, in each of these slots, we can bring half-block crafting. Let's say this way, then we'll do I don't know. Let's have some more sticks. We'll put the sticks here. We'll make some more steps like this and steps like this. Now when we want to craft something quickly, we just take this circular workbench and poke, let's say, on sticks. And we are adding sticks to the inventory. Look here. At the same time, boards are spent. Now let's look at the automatically circular workbench. We can also craft everything in it. Let's say let's make sticks again. I will now put all the items in the course of the bar. Let's say I choose to craft sticks here and remove this item from my hands. And look, now I have all the sticks crossed. My boards fly away and sticks appear. We can also remove the automatic crafting by pressing the shift from the PCM, and then if we remove this thing from our hands, we will not craft anything. Then there are 2 new weapons. This is a spike chakra, and also a flashing chakra. Let's also take creepers to check the whole thing on them. Look, let's say we have 2 creepers. First of all, let's shoot the spike chakra. He has 20 HP, and now how much will he have left? He missed a little bit, will still scatter. Here are 12 HP demolished and inflicted by poisoning. As a result, 2 additional HPM units are being demolished. By the way, they will return with time. So here you can see they flew back to me. There is also a flashing chakra. If we shoot at the creeper now, then it will be superimposed not by poisoning, but by gorenge, and will be demolished for how long? For units, yes, for units. In total, there are 16. The usual spikes have 14. Now let's look at all the staffs in this mod. The first one is the Rod of Hell. With the help of this rod, you could have already seen before, we can create such a fiery circle that will house everyone. Look here, we have now with such a characteristic sound and fritz, and now, unfortunately, we have creepers just running away from here. But you can see that they are set on fire in it. Quite a cool thing, especially against the crowd. The next rod is called the Bivrist rod. With this wand, you can first make a very cool glass, with which you can eventually make a fabulous pool of mana. To do this, you will need an elven glass, and this staff. Connect the whole thing, and get a Bivrist block. It looks like this, very nice, and it can be used in crafting. And also, with the help of this rod, you can make bridges like this. And in this case, I'll do a little crooked. Let's do it up. Look here. Now you will be able to understand very far in this way. However, these bridges are not eternal, and over time, they will simply disappear. Well, that is, you can both make a bridge up and down. The next wand is called the Wand of the Magi. With this wand, you will be able to notice various ores. Let me put a gold one here, let's say, an iron one, and we also have ore underground there. We poke the PCM, and now we have time. Here we are now seeing gold ores. By the way, for some reason, it is not very visible, and in my opinion, it is not even visible at all, but so underground. You can also see a large number of lights. They just point to the ore data. But by the way, Now you can see the iron ones. These lights of various colors, they just mean what kind of ore is there. Then, there is the rod of the volcanic core. With this wand, you can melt blocks such as sand into glass, oddly enough, and also a beligga, let's say, into a stone first, and then into a polished or rather smooth stone. Well, you can do the same with all the other blocks that are melting like this. Then comes the rod of lands. With the help of that rod, you will be able to set the ground. Yes, it's not needed for anything else. Just put one block of land, and essentially nothing. But you can improve this wand to a high-altitude wand, and now it becomes more useful, or even less useless, more precisely even to say. Look, in general, you can also bet on the ground, and oddly enough, into the air. Look, like this, literally without touching anything. You can now put blocks of earth, and let's say build yourself a bridge like this and jump. I don't know where it may come in handy, but I think you will find a use. Then comes the wand of the seas. With this wand, you can create blocks of water. Let's say here we have such a mine and up. I poke the PCM, one block of water is created, and with it you can fill, let's say, some small tank. Or just don't carry buckets of water with you, but just take a wand with you, and use mana to make water. Then, the rod of heaven. With this wand, you can just soar high like that. True, you are not always a duh, it has a recharge. And when he has a cooldown, you will not receive damage from falling. That is, look, here he has a recharge now, it's still going on, and I'm not getting any damage. He takes off somewhere, well, on a plow at 20, probably a dash of 30. Then the rod is exchanged. This wand is very similar to the exchange knob and the crafting station 4.2 in my version. But in general, look at what we can do. Let's say we choose an object to replace it with. It will be let the earth. And now we are focusing on another material. Let's say there is a stone now. I poke the PCM, and all this stone changes to the ground. This turf itself will be taken from the inventory. Here's another thing we can change here. Let's say this whole gravel can also be changed. In general, it's a pretty handy staff. We can also change everything, and let's say change it and so on. Then, the rod of the black mass. With this wand, you will now be able to master telepathy, and see what to literally do. I clamp the PCM on the resident, and he takes off. I literally somehow keep him at the same distance as before he was to me. Now if I press then it will just fly away like that. Let's try it again. Well, here it's taking off. We can lift it up like this, and push the cam, so that it just flies up. In general, it's quite an interesting wand. And the resident died by the way. Then, the rod of the depths. With this wand, you can simply create blocks of cobblestone and nothing else. The penultimate rod is called the unstable energy rod. This is a very, very cool wand, with which you can create literally such small lightning bolts, and they will kill everyone. I clamp the PCM, and look at these little sparks. Some lightning flies at creepers, and kills everyone very fast. And finally, the last wand is the terraformer wand. In my opinion, it is the most useful, because with it you will be able to level the territory. Not only raise the level, but also lower it. Let's say you're watching. Let's turn it off further away, there's no spoiling the territory. Here, I want to level the territory at this level. Just clamp the PCM, and see what happens. We have a higher level where it was too small, and a lower level where it was too big. Literally all the mountains are being demolished by the way, except for Ruth, which is cool. We can now get them with the help of luck. Look, let's say we have water here, and now everything is going to be built up here. The truth is that a huge amount of mana is consumed here, and the work is also very cool. And here, in literally 20 seconds, I probably leveled such a territory here. It remains only to cut down the trees. That's it, we've finished with the wands, and now we move on to the next subject. It's a mana emitter. Let's take the mana basil, to show how it works, and you can also add such a lens clip to it, and you can put lenses on it. First of all, what is a mana emitter? He will spend mana from our inventory, and you will be able to shoot it like this. There will be no damage, but here's a pretty effect. And you can also transport mana a little bit. That is, here you shoot, let's say, into a pool of mana, and this mana is transferred there. A small number, true, but still also cool. You can also put any lens on this emitter. Let's say here are the speeds. Let me do it. Now you can see even the texture has changed, and the mana has started to fly faster. And finally, you can also put a lens clip on it. And now you can put up to 5 lenses on this pistol. Only to do this, you will first need to remove the previous one. You press the shift with the PCM. So she took off, fit into the clip, so to speak, and now you can put on the next lens. Let's say there are flashes. We did it. We can also take it off. Now we do the following. This is resistance. Well, let's say 3 is enough for us. Now we have resistance. We press the PCM shift, and we will have speed. Here's the shooting speed, and finally let's say a flash. A flash is created. Where is she, by the way? Here it is. Then, there is a very interesting device called a digger. When you craft it, it will be practically useless, because we will have a very good mana supply. With the help of the eternally filled pool of hell in my case, because mana will really need a lot. You just throw it here. By the way, you can use furs. Well, let's try it now from this side. From this side, from this and from this. By the way, this pickaxe doesn't want to be charged for some reason. Apparently it's some kind of bug on the creative side. But in general, your survival will definitely be fine, and in the end, you will be able to pump the next levels of this pickaxe. Here we have the rank of D, the smallest, then the rank of C, B, C, and finally CC is the coolest. What gives these ranks? They will give you very cool things. Namely, this is the digging radius. Let's take the coolest pickaxe right now, and just show what's going to happen in general. Let's say there is such a rock. I'll go into survival mode, and just start breaking. Nothing happens. Now I press in kilometers, and start breaking. We look at what's going on, and we dig just a huge mine here. A lot of resources immediately fall out. Here we have a radius of probably. How much? Let's do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and also probably somewhere 10 in height. In general, the radius is really huge. If you still use that ring, I don't remember what it's called, Loki or not. In general, the very ring that increases the digging radius of the Earth Crasher, then it will generally just be a cannon. Also, you can combine this dredger together with a pickaxe from the element, and thus you will not drop a cobblestone at all. This can be useful in some cases, if you have a lot of cobblestones, and you just need to dig and pick it up. There is also such a stone of abstinence. You can activate it, and now go to dig, let's say, mines with an activated pickaxe. And let's see what happens. And radioscopy will become much smaller, which can be useful. By the way, now you can see that no cobblestone falls out now, because our pickaxe has been improved with an elementium pickaxe. Next, consider two viruses. The first one is called necrodermal, and the second one is called nalodermal. You can only impose these viruses on your horses that are tamed, so let's do it now. Everything is done. Let's put a necrodermal on this one, and it turns into a zombie horse, which will have 36 HP maximum. And now let's look at this 26 HPM, and become a skeleton. Now the maximum number is 52 HP, which is pretty cool. Yes, especially since the textures are such unusual steel. Next, let's consider such and such clothes made of monofabric. It will give a little armor. Here is 1, 2, 2, and also 1. But look what will happen with full with this. Reducing the cost of mono 4 tools by as much as 35%, and also increases the level of mastery of magic wands. In other words, they will become much more efficient. And let's see what it looks like. And these are her very beautiful textures. Literally some kind of robe and also a hood or something. Yes, it's really some kind of hood. There is also such a seed of peace. See what happens if you press the PCM while holding it in your hand. You just teleport to the point of the world spawn. That is, I appeared here when I created the world, and now if I'm further than 24 blocks from here, then I'll just teleport here if I eat this family. Come on, and this is where we teleport to. Then, there is also a very interesting item called a fragment of Laputa Island. He has several levels at once. Here, we have the first one is the strength of the fragment, 1, and the maximum is 20. Radius 14, there's 33. What is it? Let's first look at how to improve them. You first craft this shard, and then improve it with the help of Guy's spirit. That's so many times, and so you can lap up to the whole 20th level. Let's see what the 20th level is. It will be necessary to fly away from here, so as not to spoil the view for you on the guides, and then we will activate it there. Well, let's say somewhere here. I'm going to fall down and hit the PCM on the ground. What's going on? Some kind of sound and what? We look around. Oh, look at that. Here we have some rays, even start to freeze a little. And now we see there is literally some kind of island being built in the sky. The Earth is taken from here and moves about 30 blocks up. In general, this fragment moves a piece of land up to create an island, and even the ore is being moved there. In general, everything is everything that was there. True, we will have to wait a little bit here, because the island will be large, but let's not do this yet and move on. Then, there will be 3 horns at once. This is the rock of the wild, the rock of the destruction of foliage, and also a shelter. We've been looking at drums before, and in general it's the same thing, only portable. Let's now clamp down on the PCM of wildlife, and we just break the grass around. By the way, it's free in my opinion, if I'm not mistaken. Even mana is not needed here. Come on. Yes. She's not needed here. Then the destruction of foliage. The foliage breaks, but the rock of the shelter will break the snow. Next comes the glass pickaxe. This pickaxe will be very similar to the silk touch charm, only it will break only with glass. That is, let's say, if you want to break the ore, you will not succeed and even nothing will fall out. And you look at the glass we have perfectly breaks. And by the way, the pickaxe itself does not break at all. Then there is an item called the enchantment removal cloth. Oddly enough, with the help of this fabric, you can remove any enchantment. Simply connect it with the object of removing the enchantment in the workbench, and get in this case, a diamond sword without enchantment. And also, the fabric breaks a little. There are 35 uses in total. Then consider the uniform sectarian. With this thing, you can finally build normal circles in Minecraft, when before it was either very difficult, or you didn't understand how to build at all, or you had to go somewhere to the site. In general, it was really somehow incomprehensible. But now you can craft this thing, and just clamp the PCM from the potential circle. Now take it a little to the side, you write the radius of the circle, 4, 5, 6. And so even here you can make 100, 200, thousands of truth will not work anymore. Well, let's say we want to make a 5, and that for some reason nothing stands out, it's so strange. Here, everything stood out perfectly, radius 5, even written on top. And that's how it will be necessary to build on these blocks, and then you will succeed perfectly. If you make a slightly larger radius, let's say 10 or 12 even, then the circle will be more round. Here, even if you fly straight away, you may not even distinguish. Next comes the ball of the vine, and together with it, we will consider a slingshot from the life of a tree. Look, you can throw a ball of vine, let's say, somewhere on a tree here. Here we throw it here, and look, such a vine is created. It is unusual. As you know in Minecraft, you can pass through a vine, but not through this one. You will immediately figure it out upstairs, literally like a ladder. And in general, these are all the properties of this hole. If you throw it on the ground, then nothing will happen. Well, look around also with a slingshot and a tree. It allows us to throw these vine balls just without taking into account gravity. That is, if you point directly at this block, then you will rush right at this block. And if you throw a vine at this block, then it will fly a little lower. And in the end here you can see I was aiming here, and the balloon flew here. In short, this slingshot just breaks physics. And the last item on this list is an extrapolated bucket. What is it? This is a bucket into which you will never be able to take any liquid. It will just destroy everything. That is, look here we have water evaporating. If we make a tank like this here now, let's say, and take all this water away, then it simply won't stay here, and it will disappear from this world. Pretty cool bucket. If you need to drain some large volume, don't pour anything out of the buckets every time, just craft this bucket and drain everything. Well, there was a potato with you. Be sure to subscribe, like, write comments, and also click on the bell so as not to miss new videos.